Good afternoon. In recent weeks, several Clinton residents have become victims of house and auto burglaries. Detectives with the Clinton Police Department have been working overtime, investigating the crimes and building cases against 4 suspects connected to at least 10 crimes, and the investigation continues. While each criminal has worked alone, throughout the investigation, Clinton police have identified one consistency that raises concern. Each suspect has a long history of arrest and convictions for their felonies, some are violent. In most of the cases, the suspect has either had their habitual offender status rescinded as part of a plea bargain deal, thus allowing them to continue to commit criminal acts when they should have been incarcerated. The list of convictions paints a telling picture of career criminals let loose to victimize metro area neighborhoods. Each suspect has multiple convictions for felonies, some violent in nature, yet are free to commit more crimes due to lax probation, monitoring, and plea bargains. Clinton leadership, and that would be myself and the police chief, are concerned that unless these issues are addressed and brought to light, the crime perpetrated by these career criminals will only intensify. It is the expectation of every resident of Clinton and those in the metro area to be safe and secure in their own property. It is morally repugnant for the Hinds County justice system to allow career criminals multiple opportunities to commit crime without due recourse. At issue are the number of crimes these men have committed and the continual practice of the Hinds County judicial system to drop habitual offender status in order to garner a plea agreement. An issue that causes equal concern is the lax monitoring felons on probation enjoy after multiple convictions. I'm calling on the Hinds County District Attorney and the Circuit Court judges to follow State Statute 99-19-81 in regards to habitual offender status. It is past time to stop plea deals and lock up these career criminals. Wanted in connection with recent crimes are Cedric Williams, 525 Frederica Avenue, Jackson, Mississippi. Clinton police have issued a warrant for Cedric Williams in connection to 4 residential burglaries in the Lindale Drive, East Haven neighborhoods of Clinton. According to court documents, Williams is on probation and has over 10 felony convictions for armed robbery, aggravated assault, residential burglary, and possession of stolen goods. In a previous plea agreement with Hinds County on house burglary charges, Williams had his habitual offense status dropped and was only given 5 years supervised probation. Had habitual offender status not been dropped in previous cases, Williams would not have been free to commit at least 4 crimes against the citizens of Clinton and many others perhaps in the metro area. Clinton police have also issued a warrant for Woodrez Tremaine Davis, 310 Parks Road, Jackson, Mississippi. Woodrez Davis is currently wanted on 3 charges related to auto thefts in West Clinton. At the time of the crimes, Davis was on probation from the Mississippi Department of Corrections on post-release supervision. Davis was wearing an MDOC ankle bracelet at the time he committed the crime. GPS data shows Davis's movement throughout the metro area while under supervised probation. Davis has 9 felony convictions, yet has had habitual offender status dropped twice in recent years with plea agreements in the Hinds County justice system. Davis was arrested last week by the Raymond police while wearing his ankle bracelet, charged with 10 counts of auto burglary. Davis is currently being housed at the Hinds County Detention Center. Had Davis received habitual offender status, he would not have been free to victimize at least 3 Clinton residents and numerous others in the metro area. Clinton police have issued a warrant for Michael Bernard Melander, 420 Clinton Raymond Road, Raymond, Mississippi, for commercial burglary. Melander has convictions in Mississippi and Ohio for burglary, grand larceny, aggravated assault, fleeing police, and domestic violence. Locally, Melander has faced charges from the Jackson Police, the Clinton Police, Richland Police, and the Madison County Sheriff's Office. The most recent charges for commercial burglary meet the habitual offender enhancement for prosecution in Mississippi. I am calling on the DA at Hinds County and the judges to not plea bargain away Melander's habitual offender status. Finally, Clinton Police have issued a warrant for Matthew Logan Eakin, 4105 Hanging Moss Road, Jackson, Mississippi. Matthew Eakin is wanted by the Clinton Police for contempt of court on a DUI conviction and residential burglary with forced entry into the Lake Ridge neighborhood of Clinton. Eakin has 2 felony convictions for burglary and receiving stolen property. Eakin has previous arrests in Jackson, Clinton, Madison County, and Arizona. I am calling on the Hinds County DA to not plea bargain away Eakin's habitual offender status. Clinton Police continue to investigate these men in relation to other crimes committed over the past 4 months. Police anticipate additional charges against these men. Of concern to Clinton is the continual dropping of the habitual offender status by a Hinds County justice system that allows career criminals to walk our streets and victimize the metro area. In early 2015, Clinton Police met with the Hinds County District Attorney's Office to discuss how the Clinton Police Department could assist the DA's office. Discussions centered around the presentation of evidence needed in the prosecution of crimes in Hinds County. Let me make this clear. This is not an issue of inability to prosecute criminals based on evidence. It is the gross dereliction by the Hinds County judicial system to prosecute these offenders to the fullest extent of the law. Until Hinds County starts prosecuting career habitual offenders aggressively, I am asking our Clinton Police Department to take criminals to other counties where they already have open cases so that they may be prosecuted there and tried, and so to ensure the safety of all in the metro area are protected. Now let me review this again with you. First, we have Cedric Williams, 43 years old, 10 previous felony convictions. A plea deal in 2013 did away with his habitual offender status. Since then, 4 residential burglaries in Clinton. The Clinton Police Department had issued a warrant as of 4/28. 37-year-old Woodrez Davis, 9 previous felony convictions. A plea deal in 2014 dropped the habitual status and supervised probation with an ankle bracelet monitored by a probation services company. 3 charges for auto burglary in Clinton since the habitual status was dropped. CPD once again issued a warrant 4/28/15. Michael B. Melander, 42 years old, multiple felony convictions in Mississippi and Ohio. Convictions for grand larceny, burglary, aggravated assault, domestic violence. Currently on probation and will qualify now for habitual status. We have issued a warrant for his arrest for 1 count of commercial burglary in Clinton, and we are asking that they not plea bargain away his habitual offender status. Matthew Logan Eakin, 32 years old, previous arrest in Jackson, Clinton, Madison County, and Arizona. 2 felony convictions. A habitual offender status will apply. The Clinton Police Department issued a 4/28 warrant for his arrest on 2 charges of DUI and contempt and residential burglary in Clinton. We're asking there that the judicial system not plea bargain away the habitual status that he has earned. To share tips with Clinton Police, please call 601-924-5252 or Crime Stoppers at 601-355-TIPS. I'll now open the floor for questions. I have the police chief here. I have the assistant police chief somewhere in the background. We have some others. So if you have any questions for either one of us, I would be glad to take those at this time.
Mr. Mayor, you want suspects who are arrested in Clinton taken to other counties for prosecution? Could you expand on that?
If they have already committed a crime in another county, say Hinds or Rankin County, and that crime is open, they can be tried there, and then the crimes added to that judging process, to that jury process in those counties. And until such a time as our judicial system takes this serious and gets these career habitual criminals off the street, I really don't know what our other options are.
And I'm also present as well, since he didn't acknowledge my presence. And I can tell you that this is a Madison County arrest. This is a Madison County arrest, okay? Not just Hinds County. So if he's asking for other defendants to go elsewhere, they've been in other jurisdictions. It is a complete misrepresentation what the mayor has given the public. These are 4 people that he's not accurately giving you information on. 4 people. When we have ranked 4th in the whole state out of 82 counties for convicting habitual offenders. And he's talking about 4 people, most of them who've been in other jurisdictions. So to call a press conference on 4 people is disingenuous. It is politically disingenuous. We did have a meeting, of course, and that meeting went well. So I don't know why at this time the mayor is having a press conference such as this about 4 people who have been in other jurisdictions and asking them to go back to the jurisdiction where they were already committing crimes.
I'm asking them to be tried in those jurisdictions where you and the judges have failed. District Attorney, you weren't acknowledged when you came in. You weren't invited, and I was in the middle of my press conference.
Well, I'm here.
You can come in now and you can have your say. I'll be glad to debate you on it.
Well,
we have the charges here, and we have the police chief here who gathered the information.
Sure.
The fact of the matter is, your name, your office, and the judges in Hinds County are signing these. They are bargaining away the habitual status and letting them commit additional crimes in my city and throughout the metro area. And those are the facts.
Those are not the facts, sir.
Indeed they are. Mark, if you would pass out the information that we have. No, they already all have it? Well, they all have it right there. It's in writing and they can read it. Do you have any questions for the police chief?
Chief, what do you know about these cases of Cedric Williams and Woodrez Davis? Would they have been in jail had they not been able to plead out?
Well, they are on supervised probation. In your documents there, it does show an order from signed by Hinds County Circuit Judge that their habitual offender status was rescinded as part of that deal. You know, my contention is those 2 individuals in particular, had they been in jail, the citizens of Clinton would not have suffered the burglaries and property crimes that they committed since then.
Mr. District Attorney, can you address at least the 2 that clearly were habitual offenders and had their statuses dropped during plea deals?
Well, you know, again, you know, these particular individuals went to court, and I believe that one of the judges that were named was not the correct judge. So there are a number of these individuals went before 2 different judges and not the same judge. So it is up to the judge to sentence these individuals, and they have an obligation as to whether or not they will accept a deal or not.
But the agreement must also be, the agreement on the habitual, dropping the habitual offender must be agreed upon by the district attorney. And it is clearly in the paperwork that you have. We're not presenting a misrepresentation of the facts. We're simply giving you the information. We have stated it directly. This is the view of our police department and myself. And I believe that this city, that we have shown in these cases, just these cases that affect Clinton, that in fact there is a failure in the system here to address habitual offenders and allowing them to leave and to move freely within the metro area.
Gotcha.
Is it common to plead out the habitual offender status? Is it normal? Is that something that's routine among other DA's offices? Is that, because I mean obviously it's happened here, but is that something that you guys bargain with a lot?
No, it is not. That's why we placed 4th out of 82 counties for convicting habitual offenders. Now, 4 people that he has named, you know, again, you know, we're not going to have a 100% conviction rate on all habitual offenders. One of these individuals was convicted of a burglary, and you can only get 7 years for an auto burglary. So when this person pleaded guilty and was released early, we do not release people as well. When they serve their time, we cannot control the release date.
Now, when you say fourth, is that fourth in numbers or fourth in percentage, or what? How does that quantify?
Well, it was an investigative report done by the Clarion Ledger by reporter Nick Lovelady in 2010, and it was a list of 10 counties who were top in convicting habitual offenders, and Hinds County placed fourth.
Let me point out a 2010 report. These habitual offenders were dropped in 2013 and 2014. The information the district attorney is, unfortunately, not accurate to today's numbers, which is what we're talking about. And I would urge him, if he has numbers, it says he's still fourth out of 10 counties. The state, by the way, has 82 counties. If he's still fourth out of 10 counties, to present that in 2015 numbers.
What are the factors that go into deciding whether or not these guys stay locked up? I know you said the judge makes the ultimate decision, but what are some of the unique factors with these four that they've been able to get back out?
Well, first of all, you know, we were not notified of these four individuals that there was going to be a press conference. So the factors vary, but what I can tell you is if a case is pleaded or reduced, then if there is either something that we could not prove, which can be an evidentiary question, and we are the attorneys who decide that. But speaking specifically about these four people, again, as you can see, there have been, this person has had a run-in in Madison County where he's asking for this person to be
This
prosecuted.
person has 2 charges, DUI, contempt, and residential burglary in Clinton since in the last 4 months. I am asking here that you do not allow him to get away from the habitual offender status.
And so you agree that this person is not an habitual offender right now? I mean,
I don't know where you're going to
before.
take it. These
So
two
what I'm
are,
saying to you-
these two are, and these are the crimes they have committed in my town since that was agreed to by your office and the judges. Now, you really need to
Sir.
understand, when you're going to come in here and interrupt a news conference and try to take it over, you need to have your own facts
No, I've
together.
got my facts together.
Really?
If you give me the
2010 numbers?
information,
You have the
why would
information
you have
at
to
your
have,
office.
why would you have to have a press conference about 4 people?
Because I'm the mayor of a city and I'm elected with the responsibility to protect this community.
Okay, well,
And I
I'm
feel
doing the
like
same
your
thing.
office is failing in this matter. That is
Well,
why.
that's why you
And
have
I don't
to
owe
call
you an
press
explanation
conference.
other than to hold a press conference because of the responsibilities that I already hold.
I hear you.
Thank you. Are there any more questions?
What's gonna happen next? Where do y'all want to see, what do y'all want to happen next with this?
Well, I stated these two here, I want them to not allow the habitual offender status to be taken away.
And what's your response to that, Mr. Smith?
Well, it hasn't happened, so I don't know why he's having this press conference and it has not happened.
Do you feel like there are a lot of plea bargains that happen in Hinds County?
Plea bargains happen all across the nation, and if you investigate other counties, you will find the same thing.
So do you think the mayor's wrong for having this press conference today about these 4 individuals?
Yes, I do.
And why is that?
Number one, I am the sitting district attorney, and he can speak to me about these individuals privately and find out what happened in the courtroom instead of airing what he believes out in the public without checking all the facts.
Have you guys had any discussions amongst yourselves before this?
No. Once again, we had a meeting in early winter. We talked about some other issues that had to do with evidence. This has become available. It's becoming a bigger interest, or bigger issue in the county. More and more reports are coming about criminals being let free, walking, being turned out. There comes a time where somebody, somewhere, has to stand up and say, no more. I'm going to take a stand here. I'm going to tell you that my facts are correct. We have given them to you in documentation that you can take and read for yourself and assess for yourself. We're not giving you 2010 numbers. We're not taking credit for being 4th out of 10. We're giving you the numbers that are here, and we're telling you that we've had citizens, since the habitual status has been dropped, that are being terrorized in their own homes, and this is the fault of the Hinds County judiciary system. It should be fixed.
Is there a reason you didn't go straight to the system, though, to discuss these?
I chose to take this method because I want the word out and I want people to become engaged in what's happening. Any other questions?
I'd like to let Chief, if possible, since we have 4 suspects that were actually, there are 3 that we're looking for. Chief, if you don't mind
Correct.
addressing our suspects.
Well, just to recap what the mayor said, Cedric Williams is wanted for, we have 1 count of residential burglary right now, a warrant signed, and he's a suspect in 3 others that we're still investigating. I think he's a good suspect in those. Woodrez Davis right now has 3 charges of auto burglary. We're still investigating him. I'm sorry, auto theft. I'm sorry, auto theft. And there may be more coming on that. And also, that's on top of what he's already in jail for, charges out of Raymond. So really, I mean, there's multiple opportunities there to get this individual in jail. I mean, he's a 37-year-old person, and apparently, you know, he's chosen crime as his vocation, and we're just not going to allow that. I'm going to do my part not to allow that. And we work as a team here as part of the criminal justice system. I certainly don't want to alienate Mr. Smith because he's part of our team too. But we do want the public to know, you know, what's out there and what we're dealing with, and try to get them educated so that they can become a part of it and work to get it solved.
So you're still investigating these people? They haven't been charged officially?
No, they have been charged. We're investigating other crimes we suspect them to have committed also, on top of it.
Sure.
And we're looking for, Davis is in custody, and
Millender, we have an active warrant on him, and Eakin. We have active warrants on every one of these for single or multiple offenses. They're also being investigated for other crimes that we suspect them to be involved with. There may be more charges coming forth when we complete those investigations.
Which one was in custody?
Woodrez Davis is in custody now.
You are still looking for Cedric, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Still looking for Cedric, still looking for Millender, still looking for Eakin.
So do you think with these people off the streets, all 4 of them behind bars and locked up, do you think it would, you know, create a safer environment for the residents in Clinton?
Well, I think that these first 2, Williams and Davis, and to a lesser degree Millender and the other guy, I think we could be talking about a reduction in reported crimes over the first 4 months of this year as opposed to the first 4 months of last year, instead of it being flat or maybe even a slight increase. Really and truly, people are I think, unnecessarily becoming victims because, you know, we've got a failure in our system. Law enforcement, judicial, judges. I mean, it all works together, and it has to work together. And we want to do our part, and you know, we certainly want to help the district attorney do his part, and ultimately, you know, the final decision always resides with the judges. Or a jury, if you can get it in front of a jury.
When does the next grand jury meet?
We have one in about 2 weeks.
All right, I have no questions.
Do we have any other questions? Thank you all for coming today. Good to meet you. Take care, yeah. Here's a card if you need me for something. Let me know.
Good to see you, man.
Have you been?
You're good.
Very shocking that at this time, that someone would call a press conference on 4 individuals who've been in multiple jurisdictions, not just Hinds County, and claim that the citizens are being terrorized. That is that's absolutely false.
Are there 2 habitual offenders in there who arguably would have still been in jail, though, had they not been allowed to plead out?
Well, it depends on what the charge is. It depends on whether or not the charge, in one defendant's case, the charge was a burglary charge that carries 7 years. So, again, there are several things that go into a case, but we're talking about 4 people out of thousands and thousands of people that we convict.
Now, I know that recently there's been a lot of discussion about some of the, I guess, the slowdowns in the judicial process in Hinds County, and I know that there are several levels. Do you see this as part of that, in the fact that there are habitual offenders that are coming through the system multiple times? Or, I mean, multiple offenders, I guess.
Well, what we're seeing is the majority are ages between 13 and 18. Of course, we're going to have some who have been in and out, but we're not talking about a lot of people. Like I said, he had 4 people that he named who were in multiple jurisdictions, and it just makes no sense to have a press conference about 4 people who were in Madison County and Ohio and other places. It doesn't make sense to me.
Your office conviction rate, you said was ranked high, but that was 2010 figures. Does it still rank high as far as you know?
Well, it still is high, and again, that was during our administration, because during the previous administration, we had to flag individuals who were out, and as we caught these people, we only catch them when they are arrested and the evidence is strong. So again, we've put away a lot of people who were habitual offenders, and that's why you only see 4 people that he's alleging that is causing a problem here in this city, and I strongly disagree.
So are you mad about this press conference that Mayor Fisher had?
Well, I'm not happy about it. I mean, I'm not happy about it. It's certainly not the way that you deal with crime or any issues. Generally, they would call our office, or he would call the office. We've had one meeting where we were all on the same page and everything was fine, but all of a sudden this press conference comes about and it's disingenuous to me.
What do you think the intentions are for having it?
Well, it obviously is not for good reasons and for good intentions. And if it was for a good reason, then I certainly would not have a response. But this is totally for some other political reason, obviously. This is definitely a political attack.
Do you think there's a difference between 4 people causing crime in Clinton versus, however many in Jackson because of the size of the cities? Perhaps the 4 people to them are a bigger threat than it would seem to someone in Jackson. Do you think maybe that's part of the miscommunication, or?
Well, I don't think, we were not told that there was a miscommunication. We were told in a meeting that we could improve together as a whole the entire judicial system. But there has never been a complaint from this department about our office until today.
When was that meeting, back last winter or sometime?
No, it's been about 4 or 5 months ago.
Now, are there monthly or bi-monthly meetings that you guys have that are like the different agencies and you guys?
Right, we actually I have one at the police academy today.
Anybody else?